Welcome back for another episode of SSD Mythbusters. My name is Jeremy Worley, and here at SSD Mythbusters, we talk all things Social Security disability law, and we do it by each episode. We take on a myth in the world of Social Security disability, and we either prove it to be true or as busted. And the way that we do it is we present it to none other than our in-house Social Security disability law expert attorney of over 20 years. He has seen and heard it all, and he's going to help us know what's true and what's not. So Josh, welcome.
Thank you.
So today I want to continue on even with our last episode of kind of this idea of working and Social Security disability benefits. But today's myth, I want to focus specifically on like the credits that someone might need. So today's myth is someone that says, I've worked my whole life and paid into Social Security, or I've worked for the last several years, I worked many years paying into Social Security. Is that good enough for me to get on disability?
All right,
what do you say?
Let me address that. So with Social Security disability, there is a work requirement that for your background where you have worked and paid enough into Social Security to have enough credits to be considered insured for disability purposes. So let me kind of explain what that means. Everybody's familiar with Social Security retirement. And with Social Security retirement, when you have worked and paid into Social Security, everybody typically will see that on their paycheck. That's when you see FICA tax on your Social Security or on your pay stub, then that is what's going into Social Security. And as you do that, you're earning credits. And as you earn credits, then what you are entitled to for Social Security purposes continues to add up, and it gets bigger with time. With the retirement part of Social Security, as long as you've worked and paid into Social Security at any point in time, then when you reach retirement age, then you're going to be entitled to something. Okay, so any kind of work in the past will benefit you for Social Security retirement. Disability is different. With disability, you have to have recent work credits. And the best way for me to describe it, I tell people, this is the analogy I make with it. Social Security disability is kind of like car insurance, where when you've got car insurance, you've got to pay an insurance premium to the insurance company, typically monthly, that you send in, and in return, you have insurance coverage so that in the event that you are in a car accident, you have coverage that's going to cover your injuries and your damages to your vehicle because you've paid into them each month. With Social Security disability, it's similar, where when you are working, you're paying into Social Security, kind of like that monthly premium. And as you do that, then if you become disabled, where you're not able to work, which is kind of like the car accident, then you have Social Security disability there to provide you a disability benefit, okay? Now, back to the car insurance analogy, if you quit paying your car insurance premium, you just quit sending that in every month, then at some point, the insurance company is going to write you, and they're going to say, Jeremy, your coverage on your car is cut off as of this date because you quit paying, okay? So if you are involved in an accident after that date, then you don't have any help. There's nothing to take care of you. Social Security retirement, if you have quit working and you're no longer paying into Social Security, then there is a point where your insured status runs out. The exact term that Social Security uses is your date last insured. Okay, so that's DLI for Social Security purposes. So that date last insured says that if you become disabled after that date, then you are not going to be entitled to benefits because it's for financial reasons. It's not because of your health, or it's not because you don't qualify health-wise. It's because you don't qualify financially for it, okay? So the easiest way to think of it is, in general, as long as you've worked 5 of the past 10 years, then in a full-time job, then you most likely have sufficient credits and you should be okay. If you don't know for sure, then you can call Social Security, or you can go to your Social Security office and ask them about your date last insured. You can also find that online. If you create an account on the Social Security website, and they call it My Social Security Statement, you get set up on their website. You can look up your statement online, and it'll tell you if you've got enough credits or not. Okay, so but that date last insured is important. Just because, you know, if you worked for 20 years and you paid into Social Security, but that work stopped 10 years ago, and now you're filing for disability, then you're not going to have enough credits. You're going to be okay retirement because of all those 20 years that you paid into it, but you're not okay on the disability side. And you're not going to have enough credits. And because of that, from a financial standpoint, you're not going to be able to get Social Security disability. There is an alternative program, and we'll go into this in another myth, but there's an alternative program that's called SSI that is a backup plan basically for those that don't have enough credits to potentially get disability benefits. And it's based on financial need and whether you qualify financially. Do you have a very limited amount of assets and resources? If you do that and you're found disabled, then you can qualify for SSI. So that's an alternative program that's a possibility out there.
You know, I think people, when they think about disability, they immediately think on the medical side.
Right.
But you might qualify on the medical side, but if you haven't qualified from a work standpoint, you can't be successful in your claim with SSD or SSDI. Okay, but then, as we'll cover in maybe another episode, there's this option through SSI. Josh, how does it work with someone that maybe was self-employed? You know, sometimes people really aren't sure if they've paid in. You mentioned you can go in and check it. You did I think a video or at some point to even help walk people through that, right? Or is that a resource people might want to check out?
Certainly, there is a video on our website that walks you step by step through the process of getting set up with a Social Security account on the Social Security website. It walks you through everything you've got to do to be able to get access to this Social Security statement. That's what they used to send out in the mail. It was a green trifold report that would go in, you'd get it in the mail once a year. They're no longer sending those out anymore. So now you've got to get that you've got to get an account online to get that information. And I recommend everybody to do that. I think it's important that you do that. And once you do, you can look up the statement. It'll tell you if you've got enough credits, and it will tell you how much your monthly amount would be if you qualify. So 100% definitely should do that. Check out our video that shows you how to create that account.
Yeah, because then some that maybe they were self-employed, or maybe they had an unusual employment agreement. Sometimes people just don't know if they've paid in, or they can't remember when they stopped working.
Yeah, and we run into that quite often, where someone that has been self-employed does not have enough credits, and the reason that's the case is because when you're a small business or you're self-employed, for tax reasons, a lot of times you're trying to figure out, how do I limit how much income I have? You try to find expenses that cut that income down, because then you pay taxes on that. If you don't have a whole lot of income, that means you're not paying into Social Security based on that income. And so we run into it regularly where self-employed folks don't have enough credits.
Well, lots of things to consider with the work credits, but I think this was helpful. So the best way is to go and look up your credits online. But in general, if you've worked 5 out of the last 10 years, doesn't have to be continuous 5. It could be just 5 out of the last 10. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, it is correct.
5 out of the last 10. Hopefully you have the credits, because even if you qualify from a medical standpoint, you may not have the work credits. So you want to be sure you have those as well. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. Give us a follow. We're going to continue putting out content like this, having Josh walk us through it. Also, Josh has a full-time Social Security disability law practice here at the Injury and Disability Law Center, and so he helps people all over the country. So if you need information or need help with anything, you can check out the video he mentioned that's through our website, or you can give us a call. You can find us at idlawcenter.com. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time.